fuck with me, I'm a swan. Do not fuck with me. Alright, take it away, James. Take it away. Take it away. Good morning. Welcome to James True Live. I am your not so visible host right now. I'm closing tabs. I'm sure you've done that a lot, right? I'm like, okay, don't need to do that one. I'm going to tell you what I'm closing. I got evaluate spline position, closed. Solve that. Spline container transform not target. Got that. Payment details for order 2475546112128. Confirm. That's curvy splines, which I didn't actually end up using. There's an Amazon link. Hey, there's my book. I will put a link to my book in. Hey, it wants me to sign into chat. It's letting me. Interesting. Anyway, hi everybody. I should show myself. Present yourself. Present. That's not me. Where's? It's been a while. Hello all. Busy time here. Oh, thank you so much, Joshua Rayburn, for the super chat. I'm gonna go now. We'll see you later. I've accomplished my goal. See, the sooner I get off, the higher the monetization is. If you start to break down the quantum, right, of how long that took, you know? Really, I always had to play a song. And fucking Joshua, he's already, like, dumping it out, right? This is how it should flow. People, this is how it should flow. And, oh, shit, can you hear me? Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Okay, that would be funny. Anyway, yeah, I've been, holy cow, been busy. But good to see you. Good to see you all. I am on my way to Chicago, leaving tomorrow, and going to see a really special lady, and then we're gonna go to this astronosis thing. I'm gonna do a talk. It's gonna be a really good time. And yeah, before I did that, I couldn't stream yesterday. I've been just doing nonstop working on some code, and I really wanted to tell you about this idea that Americans have too many rights. Yeah, Golden Honeybee, do we really have too many rights? I think that you guys may not be up to speed with even what I define as a right. There's that. Also, I think probably it looks like I have been shitting on three people, that may not be fair. First of all, John Henry, still feeling that, Cameron. Second of all, flat earthers, because I said I think most of the people in flat Earth believe that that everyone's been lied to, but they alone are the only people that know the truth. That's what I think. And you know what's the irony is that the comments I got back was a bunch of like, yeah, well, I know for a fact it's flat, and people were like high-fiving that. It's like, yeah, you know, right? And it's like that's exactly what I mean. You're not as aesthetic. You just said, hey, I'm exchanging this rigidity for this other rigidity. And it's fine. But because I hold flat earthers to a higher standard, because I think they're kind of cross-dressing if they're not as aesthetic, I'll put it that way. And so actually, no, I don't care if you fucking cross-dress. If you're gonna fucking cross-dress, fucking cross-dress. But I think you're not really living up to I think you're creating a facade by being a flat earther, but not being as aesthetic. That's what I think. Because I think the precipice that led you to flat earth was, fuck, I have to rebuild my cosmology from the ground up using only my senses, and what I observe is flat. This is you and I. Let's fucking touch each other's genitals, because I am with you 1,000% on that bus. You're the flag girl. I'm the saxophone player. We are driving all the way to Hickson County, and it's dark, and we are in the back of the bus, and we are exploring each other's body parts. This is a true story, by the way. I was a sophomore. Flag girl's name was Sharon. I'm not ashamed of that. She's actually, I think I lost her during the COVID war. She's a pretty hardcore vaxxer. God bless you, Sharon. I know I really disappointed you when you saw what I thought. And that did not change that I put my fingers in places that not everybody's put their fingers in. I still think that you are a sacred flower, even though you're This is why I want to talk today about this, right? This is why. This is why. Yes, celebrate ego. I love this. Let's do it. Hey, Joshua lives in Chicago. You should come to Wheaton, Joshua. You should come to Wheaton and say hello. Shit, you already spent your money though. But still, you should consider coming. It's not too late. You guys can come to Astronosis. In fact, if you join Patreon, there's a discount code for that. It's like, I think it's pinned. If it's not pinned, I think actually Last Air shit's pinned. But if you scroll down, it's not far. Guys, if you can't scroll through my Patreon wall, what are we even doing here? You can join Patreon for free. It's totally free. Like, I don't feel you up or nothing. Some of you have requested that we feel you up when you join Patreon. We are working on that because there's this person that's volunteered, but he wants to remain nameless. In fact, I think I've sort of given away too much. It's a very awkward situation. I would normally have said no to this, but in the importance of embracing the she nature of the deep Hebraic hidden God, the one that's behind the Torah, the spreading out, the he and the she. If you read Ark of Baphomet, you would know this. Then what's Ark of Baphomet? It's a book I wrote. It's not the book I linked to. Did I even place that link in there? I don't know. There's Black Guy Club. You could buy that book. I have 14 reviews. I want you guys to put that on my tombstone. James Drew was a writer. He got 14 reviews once on his book. Wow. That guy really just seared an electric bolt through the forehead of mass consciousness. 14 reviews. This guy wrote 50,000 words, deleted 30,000 to deliver you 20,000. And out of all you fuckers that ate those 20,000 words, only 14 of you could give me any words back. And this is a one-way street. This is why being a writer's hard. Am I bitching? No, I'm more just playing. I'm playing. The 14 reviews are great. They mean a lot to me. They mean so much to me. This is why I bitch about. Not have enough. I want more. They're like the, they're the fried conch of the island. And you've been drinking daiquiris all day, eating fried conch, and you're like parked out on the beach on a Belizean island. No one knows your fucking name. You haven't seen your driver's license in like a month and a half. Like, you don't even fucking know what keys are. And you're living there eating fried conch and drinking daiquiris, and you're like, how did this work out? Then a dude drove a truck into the local internet tower, and I thought it was because he was drunk. Turns out he wasn't drunk. We tell each other it was because he was drunk, and no, this is like pirate warfare. They were like, if we take out the telephone lines, we get to bribe people. That's not an exaggeration, and that's like low-key Belize. That's like not the worst of it kind of place. Like, we were in like the tourist district and like that shit was happening. Okay. So it's like, if you're going to head down to, Placenta, I call it Placenta. The actual name's Placencia, but man, Placenta, why don't you name the fucking town Placenta? Why would you name the town Placencia? Who's going to be able to spell that? How are you going to spell that? Meanwhile, Placenta's over here, just gelatinous ball that hasn't broke, it's just like kind of like shaking is tremoring, like jello-ish sort of a thing, and it's just like, why don't you name a town after me? And Belize are people like, close mine. The internet is a pirate warfare, and we're in a town where placenta is not safe here. It's a very different town. So that's going on. And I wanted to say hi. I wanted to earn your trust and faith as a live streamer. I don't even know how many people are watching, which is probably better. But more importantly, I did want to share with you something that I read that doesn't surprise me at all. Not at all. And I can only share this to you now because as of 2 hours ago, this is fresh out of the oven. I just was able to get to the spline implementation of this little package I've been working on. This package just shows slides. I need to kind of test drive this and see if it works. I haven't heard one person say the audio's. It's probably fine though. You guys probably would say like, we can't hear you. You'd probably say that. So, But I want to get. It's funny that it tells me to sign in. I'm gonna ignore that, and I want to show you this because if I can show you this, then I can show you some other things that are important. Do not hit stop stream. Why did you just do that? I need to hit the other button. What's the other button? Share screen. No, I'm not in Zoom. God, I'm like 6 dimensions deep into code. I'm like in Visual Studio inside C Sharp, writing to C plus, which is putting stuff into assembly language, but compiling it for a compiler that's on a Mac, but previewing it on a PC, so then you could do a shared webcam that comes out through an OBS stream as a virtual cam. So it's a shared cam that is a virtual cam, and then all that. And then I'm like going, yeah, what do I? You don't need to hear this. I'm not complaining. It's just, man, you get lost in these layers. There's all these layers. One of my favorite parts about this dimensional, whatever we're going to call this place, is that the layering never competes with itself. There's all the dimensions complement each other. That's why you can like go to the red light district and like have an experience with a daffodil. There we go. And you're like, well, how do you do that? It's like, it's complicated because you need a subtle palette, but it's possible because we live in a dimensional world that allows this complementary layering. It's you see every layer. The layers don't stop each other. Some of you it does. Some of you are colorblind. Some of you are men and you can't see what the women see. Women are looking at electricity in the air. They have to ignore it to put up with your ass because you're boring. And you know, some of you guys have finally learned to see it too, but you're pretending that you can't see it. And some of you women actually aren't even really women. And all this is confusing. I know. And last week last stream, I was said that apparently it was false for me to imply that you guys could be chimera, but all of you are chimera. This is not an argument. This is not like let's watch That's Incredible with, what's that guy's name? I don't know. Let's go watch That's an old show. Let's go watch That's Incredible and learn about chimera as if it's like some odd thing that happens in 1 out of 10,000 people. And that's not the truth. You being yourself requires that you have a shadow DNA that runs backwards, right? The transposons, the GTACs, have a backwards compatibility you're creating a shadow self just by you existing. And I haven't even got a chimera because those twins are not just twins of each other. It's like so much more complicated than that. You've got your mitochondrial you, which is all connected to this central Eve, which should be mind-blowing. More of you should be like, I mean, you guys probably do it enough. That's fine. It's okay. I'm not asking you to pull over and do it. You can. But if you're doing it because I'm asking, it's weird prana economy. We should probably, I don't know. Maybe it's not even weird. It's the world. It's a weird world, So all that to say, what was I going to do? Oh, I wasn't going to hit the button that said stop stream. But I did want to get to these slides, and so in order to do that, I have to do a quick little, I think if I do present, and then I do, this, I'm going to lose people right now because it's going to take a second. But I need to do, oh wait, that says Unity. Oh my God, that was fast. Okay, and then if I slide this over, does that? Yeah, it does. Okay, so I have actually been working. I guess I can show you this part. I've been working in splines. It's let me make sure you can see that. Can you? I think you can only see that when we're getting there, guys. I swear we're getting there. I'm actually going to show you. You know what? I won't show you this. I'll just work on the. But it will be about right there, and about right there. So. If I do that with the other one, just a second here. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I think we're going to do this one is what we want to try and do. And then let me just do a quick little. Hopefully this won't crash. All right, great. So I finally got splines implemented in my app, and it's not complicated. It just takes a while. And the idea of splines is that you can preset a path, and you can kind of see that path here in the background. and that by presetting that path, I don't have to like go in and like place all this stuff. And then if you preset a path, then you can kind of like put stuff on the path, and do stuff. And so this SWAT guy is going to be sort of our little guinea pig host, because we're going to wait for this train. Hopefully we won't miss it. Here comes this train, this little white train. This is Steve, by the way. Steve's doing good. He's been reading on Reason Magazine, put out an article. And I like Reason because if anyone is for the First Amendment, it would probably be Reason. I don't want to miss this thing. Let's see. Okay, good. So look at Z's face. He's so excited. He's just having a ball. He's just like, guys, I'm having a good time. So Reason Magazine, let me make sure you guys can see. Yes, Reason Magazine just came out with a study that they conducted. And as I said before, I tend to believe these guys more than others because I think that they do a lot of good work for civil rights and stuff. And they just came out with this. And this is basically says that more than half of Americans believe the First Amendment has gone too far. And you could easily try and say, oh, well, this is just a hit piece that people don't actually really think that. But I as I said before, because it's Reason Magazine, I do tend to believe that this is accurate. And it really does reflect a lot of the things that I say about where we are, like where we are overall with like our rights and what we consider too many. Now, I have told you about how the history, here's actually what I should have posted here, is more than half Americans think the First Amendment provides too many rights. Evidently, 1 out of every 2 Americans wishes they have fewer civil liberties. This is a dictator's fantasy. This is an article by Emma Camp. And I'll link to it in the comments. Although if you go to Reason, it'll be on the front page. So I probably won't link to it. But the point here is that, make sure we are set here, is that, if I do left, nope, no, okay, that's cool. The point here is that I've talked to you a lot, probably exclusively, about how if you understand the history of pirates, you actually understand that the history of people is not necessarily a love affair with out-and-out freedom. In fact, most of the dawning of civilization was the curtailment of that. I remind you of dress codes in colonial America, which should be kind of hilarious if you think about it, that the way that you portray the idea of coming and starting a new, coming to a new land, right? You would think would be the ultimate form of freedom, when in fact, most people came here and found that much freedom to be excessive and dangerous. How you dressed, this is why pirates are known to dress flamboyantly, is specifically because of this, because they were making fun of the idea that by you living on land, you were participating in a psychopathy of fear of too many freedoms, of too much wild. It's always been a deep resentment of what is wild. And I say resentment because that resentment really does need to include this illusion that we don't resent it. We've talked about this before. That people not only want to hold the illusion, not only do they fear freedom, but that they want to always be seen as loving more freedom than anyone else. That they are the ultimate fans of being free, so to speak, right? And this is a very common tactic as people try and climb out of the serfdom, the slavery of what it takes. Of like how long it takes for certain people to emerge from serfdom. We've discussed, actually, this might have been just an airship, but if you think about what a trailer park is now, that a trailer park is giving you a really good idea of what serfdom looks like. That there are people that are more rooted into the land. It's ironic, right? You live in a trailer, but actually you're more rooted to the land. And there's a reason for this. The portability is showing you that their roots are not actually in the house, the structure itself. They're in the soil still. And that makes them less temporal. They're not able to be so quite independent as you might expect them to be when you read their America First shirts or whatever else it is. And so you end up with a facade of people that want a certain behavior, but actually are pretending or insisting that they want something else. This is standard 12-year-old child behavior. And it's great because the child wants everything. He wants the cake and he wants to eat it. And quite frankly, why not? It should be a war on every single thing that we've ever considered to be. Death and taxes, I do not know, nor will I ever spread the rumor that those two things are the only things in the world that you cannot change. I do not believe that that's the case about either of them. Okay? But yet we are surrounded by this majoritarian glue, and the glue itself causes these kinds, sorry for the hot mic there, the glue itself causes these kinds of facades to be built where we lie to each other. In this article, it explains, sadly, that 52%, actually I'll give it's 60%, I'll show it to you. Hit copy. That 60% of Democrats think the First Amendment goes too far, and 52% of Republicans think that the First Amendment goes too far. And you and I are pretending that all this is real. Steve is totally pretending that all this is real. This look on his face is no accident, you know. He's here defending all this, and he understands and reads this, that more than half Americans think the First Amendment provides too many rights. And the reason why is very historical. It's very, very much historical. And we understand this. We can understand this only when we can be patient enough to truly look at and understand who and what people are, where they're at, I mean. And so we end up with a two-party system that makes no sense. We end up with a constant barrage of people that are throwing chairs, and no one's actually saying, hey guys, isn't the fact that they're throwing chairs in a wrestling match kind of proof that it's fake? And no one hears you. No one hears you say that because it's destroying the entire illusion of what's around. It's so much of a proof that you're living in Hades. And I don't think Hades is bad. I'm not telling you that you're living in hell because hell's a horrible place. I'm telling you that you're living in hell, and the reason why people say that hell is a horrible place is because hell is the richest place of all. Hell is the place where all things are seen. And when you are struggling with the truth of what the jungle is really like, you are going to eventually come up with the ability to not see things. You're going to develop the ability to not see. And when you develop that ability to not see, the fear that you encounter as you're riding this roller coaster starts to subside. And you begin to eliminate the parts of the world that, quite frankly, are just too difficult to see. And so this is the definition of Hades. It's a land of where everything is there, but only so many people see it. And there's a reason why when you start to look at the mythology and you start to unwrap it all, you really understand that this is the true nature of our reality. Some of you guys probably are offended that you're in hell, and so you can't see it. You think that because you're in hell, you must have done something wrong. And you can't really fathom that because of how much fear that has been placed in you, right? From religious programming to where it's not good. You're not supposed to want to go to hell. But the reason why you're not supposed to want to go to hell is because it doesn't feel right to you because you're already here. You are already in hell. And the hell that you see is actually therapeutic. You're watching the behavior of everyone in hell extract itself. The prana economies that you watch that happen, all the fraud, all the abuse, all the denial, all the everything, is a direct reflection of what it feels like to burn in the witness of the sun, The sun is the burning witness. It is the eye of truth. And that hurts more than anything else. Hertz, Hertz, hertz. The frequency of truth is a kind of radiation. And so certain people don't want to see it. So when you read an article that most of the population thinks that the First Amendment goes too far, this is not actually even a bad sign. If anything, it's giving you more evidence that what I'm saying is true. We would have caught on by now if it wasn't. We would have eventually figured this stuff out, and we still haven't. And it is so tricky to explain to somebody how it works, because so many of the people that you find are like trying to get you to see things don't actually have the ability to break through. They can't imagine breaking through. Project Veritas right now is just yesterday saying vote for sale. Progressive Dems say Muslims use widespread voter fraud to replace LGBTQ-friendly Democrats in Michigan polls. And this is hell. This is hell. Because instead of Project Veritas, who has the audience, instead of Project Veritas telling you that, hey, maybe the entire system isn't real, they're going to double down on the partisanship, right? They're going to say, yeah, but he threw the chair first. And this is really the ultimate proof that you know where you are. You know where you are now. You totally get it. And so when you get these things, you can kind of backwards engineer where you've been. Now, I've accepted that I'm living in hell, and I think it's kind of cool. I think both. I look at the progressive nature of what hell has done to me, and I think about it through not just my lifetime, because hell's definitely shaped me a lot through this lifetime, but really through my entire 200,000 year process as a vine. You know, I've been given a Wi-Fi key, a DNA signature, and I can take that signature and I can apply it, and I can receive a signal and be exposed to a network of witness. And that network of witness causes a garden of consciousness to grow, and that's why we're here. I don't face this reality as a brutal sort of like a place, a purgatory. It would be very natural for Dante to describe it as a purgatory, especially when the sensory fidelity of hell has such a high resolution, right? The resolution of this place is burning in 4K, 8K, and every day when the corona shifts, when the lens shifts, you are exposed to more or less, and that you get to control that aperture. You get to take a hot fire poker and burn your olfactory gland in the top of your mouth and stop smelling, and you've done this when you were born. And the horse that you see, the dog that you see through the world, they look at hell through direct eyes, which is part of the reason why they do not have the same kind of color variables. Horses and dogs see, I think horses are a little bit more greenish on the spectrum, and dogs are a little bit more bluish on the spectrum. Both of them stay away from these signatures of the higher spectrums, quite simply because they're too painful to perceive when you're painting them, so they paint in tones that are more greenish, that are more bluish. You and I are learning to see. Some of us are so colorblind because we're still not really comfortable with the vibration. That you can emotionally probably solve your colorblindness the same way that you could emotionally learn to listen to the electricity of a crowd. Because you might be told that the reason why you cannot see electricity or see like fish do is because you have a dick. And so because you have a dick, you're not going to be able to see that. But actually the truth is that because of the genital makeup that you had when you came to this place, you have accented certain parts of you and closed off other parts of you. And you've done them to find those parts, and you've done them to miss the parts that you've closed off. So you remove your obelisk as a woman to experience the world as the want of obelisk, and you remove the sacred stargate as a man to experience knowing what it's like to not have that. And that both of these things are reflected through the fractals of all your perceptions. And you end up kind of like Steve here, where you're going downhill a little bit too fast facing reality. And all you can do is just kind of freak the fuck out. But the longer you take this ride, the more you sustain yourself on the roller coaster, the more comfortable you become in this place. And more importantly, the more fidelity you see, and you start to find things that normally would not be appealing. You start to find comfort in. The blues, hot sauce, a woman with an attitude. All of these things are things that at first palate, at first touch, you might find displeasing. Even the shaking of bitter scotch when it touches your tongue. And that through practice, and you might call, what is that practice? Is it the numbing of senses, or is it the activation of senses? You learn to find a subtlety that we respect. We respect the subtlety of people and their ability to taste wine, or to analyze the hop signature of what's there, right? That all these things are us learning to perceive hell more effectively. And if it gets too much, we can just lie to ourselves and turn it all off. And so this place is actually working perfectly. It's actually working perfectly. And I tell you the thing about the chairs because I've been telling you for years, hey, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and it doesn't really matter. What I mean is that the general population doesn't really object. It's kind of like what happened with the flat earthers, where you hear that they believe in something, and then when you put them to the test, it doesn't always add up. I hate that I'm suggesting that they're all this way. I think you're going to find much more brethrenship in that community, and I've probably already burned the bridge with that. But like I said, I hold people to higher standards that I expect more from. I just do. It's a problem. It causes me a lot of issues. It's harder for me to even keep a show on the air because I do that. So don't do what I do, right? Do whatever you feel is necessary to survive in hell. The very prongs of freedom are pinned to a figure that actually has done more than anyone else to place every American into a chattel slavery through taxation, that 40% of your resources are required by law to be given to someone else, to the Templo Mayor, and that only a few of us have decided I can't do this, and that the rest of us don't really mind what happens. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that there's really nothing else you can do. This is, you only have so much time here. There's only so much priority. And honestly, if we were to create a situation where we needed to be saved by each other, which we have, then we end up worse in hell, not better. Which is why I believe so strongly in the sovereign movement, which is why it would seem pretty tricky to understand how I could like the sovereign citizen movement, but also treat them so badly through ridicule. And the ridicule it was pretty lightweight ridicule actually, but it was basically the idea is if you get pulled over by a police officer and you're a sovereign citizen, a lot has already gone wrong. I don't actually think that you can be on a roadway and think that you're a sovereign citizen at the same time. I don't. But it's because I don't mind looking at the world more naturally. I've seen how the world works. And I know that the same charlatans that were trying to insist that there was no such thing as contagion, or that contagion was a myth, or that because of Koch's postulates, every single thing that you've ever understood about how massively contagious all of us are to each other is now out the window. That those same people, the exact same ones, were forging government underneath you when you sleep. It should be the biggest chair that's ever been thrown, should be the fact that as a writer of law, there's not one politician that can tell you how many words have been codified into law. Not one person can do it. And that's an endless pit. And that endless pit will never, ever consider itself to be an endless pit. Never will. Because Project Veritas will always be here to explain that it's the Democrats or it's the Republicans. And even when all these things are happening, even as it's all going down, there's really not a lot you can do about it. And this is why I think it's living in hell. This is why it's such a beautiful cross. I said beautiful cross. Yes, the only place that you could truly be crucified and it count would be hell. How bad would it be to be crucified in heaven? Would that even count? This is all the countries that said, yeah, the Iraq war makes a lot of sense. Every one of them. Every one of them got on board. And not only did they unite under a lie, no one cared. No one cared. Do you know what we care about right now? That the people that went over to facilitate and burn down all the oil fields, when they were in boot camp, they might have been exposed to asbestos. That's what we're dealing with now. And if there's anything that this last event showed you, it's that the lawyers, when COVID came, did nothing. That the nurses, when COVID came, did nothing. I don't mean they didn't work. But they did nothing. The doctors did nothing. The school teachers did nothing. The media, the press, they did nothing. They did nothing. The only people who did anything was you. I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. Sorry. The only people who did anything was you. You were the only one. And you found me. Some of you found me, left, came back. Some of you are like, fuck, is this it? Is this the only fucking beacon? Is James true? And this is what I mean. Doesn't that prove it's hell? Doesn't that prove it's hell? It does. It does, because Denzel Washington's not going to tell you this stuff. Denzel Washington has more money than God. He's like the coolest guy in the fucking world. He's not going to come out and tell you this stuff. He's not. Howard Stern literally tripled down on it. Triple down on it. He wants it more. So God bless you, Monica. Seriously. Hey, Stretch. These things are not here to depress you. They're here to inspire you. I'm telling you, this is an inspiration, what I'm telling you. This is good news. It is. This is why you need to tweak your language, because if you think ego's bad, you're never going to be able to get out of this. If you want to climb out of Plato's cave, you're going to need ego to do it. You're going to need to be able to hold your own light long enough so you can climb up the esophagus and out through the cave, right? I've told you that this socket is Plato's cave, and that the retina is the optic nerve that comes into your eye that feeds Plato's cave is a two-way street. There's afferent nerves that go back up into the eye, which means something else is happening way more dramatic than we think here. Way more dramatic. And what I believe is happening is that, excuse me, your amygdala is constantly painting things into your cave wall. If you've never seen The First Eye, one of my streams, you should check it out. It'll kind of get you caught up on that. It's an old stream, but look it up, The First Eye. And it explains that this is why your retinas, you're still burning your retinas even when you sleep. Your retinas are like little light bulbs, right? So like constantly burning out. And while you're sleeping, you could turn that shit off. Like your body's so efficient at burning calories, but it does not shut your eyes off. What's happening is that your retinas are used as a chalkboard, and you sort of have an assemblage point, The macular vision is sort of like an obelisk. It points to a specific space, but the specific space that you think it points to is out there in the world. But actually that specific space is really your crystal palace. This is why when people tend to recall, they'll look up to the right and things like that. lie detectors will tell you right. If you look to the right, then you're this. If you look to the left, that. But really, you need to make sure that they're right-handed before any of that works, because we tend to move into our brain like you move into a house where you get to pick the bedroom, and not all of us pick the master bedroom. Some of us are like, hey, I would rather have that as a study. I could use that room. I'm going to do a sleep in there. So why don't I just sleep in the closet, turn this master bedroom into a study? Then I got a separate bathroom. And, hey, I know some of you are like, oh, that's gross. Yeah, I know. That's why you're living in hell. You're getting home advice from me, That's what happens here. That's what happens. But this place is not broken. No more than a wrestling match is broken. What's broken is what you think it is. What's broken is what you think it is. And this is why it's chair throwing, because that was nothing. All those people that participated in all those countries that participated in that were nothing. These are all the countries that are currently telling you that nuclear bombs are real, and that if two little blips here, if either North Korea or Iran get a nuclear bomb, that every one of us is going to die. All of us. And we've been told that since I was a little boy. And not once has a chair thrower who's gone to Washington to fix Washington ever brought that up. It's never going to happen. Never. And in the worst, most partisan place that you've ever seen, literally the most partisan place that you've ever seen that could ever possibly exist, right? In the world, ever, every single decision, the caterer, who is the hat check, who gets to be the in charge of the Secret Service, who gets to be the caterer, who gets to be the official biographer, who gets to be the Surgeon General, who gets to be the chief of state. That all of these decisions, every single one, is brutally made for political reasons. And those political reasons were what was necessary to actually bring someone to power. And that in 7 administrations, during the most bitterly contested times that we've ever seen, some of the most worst political wars that you've ever seen, between 7 entire administrations, every single person was replaced and fired, every single one through every single administration except for one singular solitary role or man, and his name's Fauci. And I think probably one of the worst things that could possibly happen is everyone invigorating this guy right now, as Project Veritas is doing, by trying to expose him. How did they want to expose him? Not as maybe media isn't real, but as in media is even more real than you think. And when you start to understand the true purpose of media, you can see stories like this and really see the mechanics that this is actually how people believe in Fauci. That all the subsidiary beliefs that happen as a result of this, every single one, happens because we give him legitimacy by doubting him. When you doubt this, you end up invigorating everything else that's attached to it. And this is probably the oldest trick that there is. It really is probably the oldest trick that there is. And just like the first chair was thrown in a wrestling match 60 years ago, and if you were to ask any wrestling fan, are you allowed to throw chairs in a wrestling match? The answer is no. No, you can't throw chairs in a wrestling match. Only bad wrestlers do that. And you watch everyone justify why the chair was... Well, because he hit him with a chair. Of course he's going to throw a chair. What else is he going to do? You secretly work for him. This is you don't want him to defend himself? This is how you know you're in hell. You know you're in hell. And the only thing that would make it more hellish is if the people around you couldn't see it. That'd be the only way. And look around. Look around. This isn't bad news. This actually, things turn around for you from here. They really do. The reason why they turn around is because you stop losing so many calories. You stop losing so many calories. Because if you didn't know that you were in hell, this would have to bother you 6 times, like it did me. So when he was with Reagan, ugh, and he was with Bush, ugh, and he's with the Bush, other Bush, or Aleister Crowley Bush, ugh, he's with Clinton, ugh, and he's with the other Bush, ugh, and he's with Obama, ugh, and he's with Trump, ugh. And Trump's the one that is your champion because he doubts it too, right? Because he doubts it like you. And you're surrounded on all sides. And you're surrounded on all sides because that's what hell would feel like. It would feel that way. It would feel that way. I don't think I was showing you this, but there's 6 administrations. 7 administrations. And so you can uncouple from this system. You do not have to believe it's real. You do not have to give it any legitimacy at all. There's some lessons here, though. You are surrounded by people that need this system to be legit. They need it. Not only do they need it to be legit, they need to be able to tell you and complain about the system. They need you to hear them complain about the system, but not actually do anything about it. And it's the same thing as going to a wrestling match and watching someone complain about the chairs. My grandfather would complain because he threw a chair. It's so unfair, he'd say. It's so unfair, he threw a chair. And it's not that he threw the chair, it's that the wrestler he didn't like threw a chair. And now it's wrong. And isn't that what happens in Washington? Isn't that what happens in Washington? You guys wonder why Kennedy and Chappaquiddick happened, right? Maybe you guys don't know, but Ted Kennedy, senator, apparently was out drinking and driving, drove off a bridge in Chappaquiddick River, and killed his aide, one of his aides. One of the first intern scandals that we got to hear about. And apparently he was knowingly drunk, and no one cares. And you might ask why no one cares, and people will say, well, it's because he's a Kennedy. But now let's start to unwrap that. Because I've tried to tell you how the idea of Marie Antoinette was necessary, because if the state started sponsoring witches to burn, which they've been doing for a while, if they were just to do it more effectively, we could really, really get a lot of shit done. And that's where we've been. So you would naturally start to see a progression of these kinds of systems that would just become more standardized. And so you end up with the media, right? You end up with the media, which I've showed you that for 7 times, there's that number 7 again, but for whatever reason, for 7 times, they were able to interview Osama bin Laden. But because church and the state would never, ever collude with each other, they couldn't just get him. They couldn't get him. Because there's this Hollywood idea that those two entities would have to be separate. It would have to be. You will see CNN anchors in the Hollywood movies now. You'll see that. That would have been 50 years ago, that would have been completely unacceptable. The illusion would require that those two worlds would never mix, but they do now. And I've told you about the fourth wall and how the only thing that's really keeping you back from the illusion of politics and the news is the fourth wall state. Meaning that most of the state understands that there's two claws, two pincers to media. One is never breaking the fourth wall. It's drama. It's even situational reality comedy. And it really never breaks the fourth wall. It's weird. And that really the only difference between what you consider to be true and false, you've been conditioned to believe this, is what breaks the fourth wall and what doesn't. But see, this is such a fundamental truth that I think most of you, not most of you, but a lot of people that on the street that would just hear this would just never be able to even comprehend it. I don't think that I'm super smart. I think I just lack the ability to explain it. And the only reason why I see it is, guys, I was trained to detect underground enemy threats that were underwater. I was slowly trained to do that. I mean, like, if any, the only legitimacy the country has ever given me as a warfare expert in this art, and I'm doing it now. And even though I'm doing it, people don't care. They don't want to see that. They don't want to think that the enemy's right here. And that's okay, because there's really no enemy. If you start to underwrap what we're really even doing with each other, I mean, I was realizing this last week, but, even when we're mad at each other, we tell each other to fuck off. Like, that's like a really nice thing to say. If you really think about what the insult of that really means, you're telling someone, hey, I'm upset with you. And because I'm so upset with you, I would like for you to take some time to go pleasure yourself. I want you to get off. I want you to have an orgasm. And if anything is showing you the divine nature that we are ourselves behind masks, forgetting that we're behind masks long enough to put on another mask to wear it again. It's no different than a child forgets who they are when they plug in, right? When you plug into that state of whoever you're going to be, nothing else matters. You forget all the other stuff. You forget it all, right? And so you really, really get a chance to, I think, embrace who you are even more when you start to figure out what this place is, what its real purpose is. And maybe the only reason why people think that you would have to come to hell because you're punished is simply because they wanted to be punished. And maybe the only reason why people really wanted to be punished is simply because they know the therapeutic value of what that's like. If you look at religious history, it is a long history of how can I torture myself more than the next guy. We have a academy of saints, and the only thing that makes them a saint is how much pain they endured and how proud we are of them for doing it. We're so proud of them, we collect their dead body parts and we put them in the pulpit where young children, even today, come up and receive Holy Communion. And no one says a word. No one notices that. And the reason why they don't notice is because their olfactory is shut off. And the reason why their olfactory is shut off is because of how potent this place is. When you sink into the bathtub and it is hot, the only thing that lets you sink in more is remembering that you are a volunteer. It's the only thing. It's the only thing. And this is why I talk about the volunteer thing so much. Because you really, really start to level up when you can look at yourself as a volunteer. Just like every single part of that changes. You know? Let me see if this works. You're watching James True Live. I appreciate you. I think you can hear music right now. How's it going, Steve? Oh, fuck. I'm living in hell. Yeah. to put that on mute on there. Anyway, hope you guys are doing great. Hope you're enjoying yourself. I'm broadcasting on Tuesday night. I don't know why. Wanted to do it last night, but I couldn't. I've been working on this code. Finally got the code where I can at least play around with it. It's just been nonstop. It's been nonstop. Steve's tired. He was like, dude, this has been rough watching this guy. But we're getting there. Things are happening. In fact, Steve can die now. And as someone who's living in hell, I think he's pretty happy about that. And I think the way you die, where do you die, Steve? I think we lost the ability to die because of the green. I don't see the sacred green object that you're not supposed to touch. That was another part of it. Let's zoom out here. Nope, I don't see him. So this is a spline. You can barely see the edges of it. But what took me all week was just making it like break down to where it follows the actual terrain, right? So this is like a circle, right? And I think if I go over here, I think I can change that. But I don't think it's going to be that impressive. This will be cool. This will be a great storyteller very soon. But for right now, this is where... Oh, I just hit Steve with the camera. Sorry, Steve. But yeah, so that's what's going on. That's what's up. I'm going to stop streaming because I gotta clean my house. I should have negotiated I don't want to clean my house. It's going to take a while. I gotta clean my house, guys. Have a great day. Appreciate you much. You're not free. And you don't want to be. Your speech is not free because everything you say is going to cost you. And that's good. You know why? Because your voice matters. And if you were living under this whole thing of free speech, it wouldn't matter. That's why over half the people think free speech has gone too far. Right? That's why over half. And you're surrounded by these people. You are. This is part of the tepid nature of the bath. And if you call yourself a volunteer, you are going to do well, my friends. You are. Have a beautiful day. We'll see you next time on James True Live. And hey, go fuck yourself. Like, in a really good way. Seriously, tonight, go fuck yourself. Enjoy. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here.